It is my privilege today to interview Lee Baxter. Lee and Terry moved into Epworth Villa about a year and a half ago, and Lee hit the ground running. He is an avid volunteer, and he's taken on some serious tasks, and we have benefited greatly from his expertise. Lee was born in Minnesota, and Terry was born in New Jersey, and they have retired in Oklahoma. What's up with that? We will find out. They have had a pretty exciting, full and active life. I think they've been everywhere and done everything. And Lee's resume is just off the charts. We won't be able to get to all of it, but we're going to hit the bullet points. I'm always interested in successful people, their formative years, and so I want to ask Lee, when you were a little boy, did you think to yourself, one day I want to be a general, or how did that culminate?
Well, actually, Pat, the farthest thing from my mind at that age would have been being in the Army at all. No one in my family ever was in the military. My dad was too young for the First World War, too old for the Second World War, and I was raised on a very, very rural farm community in southern Minnesota. Went to high school there, went to college at a place that gave me a football scholarship, the University of North Dakota, and then, as were many guys my age, I was drafted into the Army and had the opportunity to go to officer candidate school here at Fort Sill after basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And then I enlisted for officer candidate school and went to officer candidate school at Fort Sill, was commissioned there, intended to spend 2 years in the Army, and ended up spending nearly 32. So that's the short story of all that happened.
Well, tell us some highlights of your 31 years.
Well, we lived in Europe. I lived in Europe 5 different times, Terry 4 different times, each time in a different part of Germany, by the way. Spent some time in the Middle East, in Israel and in Egypt. Spent 3 tours over 30 years at Fort Sill. 3 tours in Washington, D.C., spent some time skiing in Colorado. So we did make our way around the world a bit, but tended to go back to places that were terrific to go back to, and enjoyed that part of the military very much.
Well, you were really young when you retired from the military, so what did you do then? Well,
I retired. I stayed in Lawton, Oklahoma. We debated that for a long time. Our options were Washington, D.C. or to stay in Lawton, and we had a lot of friends in Lawton, so we stayed there. I went to Cameron University as a vice president for 1 year, decided academia was not necessarily my niche. Had the opportunity to go to work for a company you may have heard of called Bank First, and was the president of Bank First in that part of the state for about 3 or 4 years. Then decided I really wanted to retire, meaning I wanted to work for myself for the first time in my working life. So I did so, began a little consulting company with about 4 or 5 partners, and we did consulting work in defense and some other areas all around the world, really, up until the time I actually retired, which was just prior to our move to Epworth.
Of all of that, what was your favorite?
Oh, well, the favorite location and the favorite job would be 2 different things. Certainly, I had the opportunity at one point, just before I came to Fort Sill for the last time, to be responsible for the personnel system for the Army, which was a challenging and really stimulating, interesting job. Got to know so many different people and was responsible for their placement. So that was a great job. Favorite place, truly, was Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is a place we still absolutely adore. I think it's one of the finest places in Oklahoma, and certainly one of the best places we've ever lived. We simply loved it there and still do.
What about children and grandchildren?
We got all that. We got all that. We have a daughter that is a high school guidance counselor in Des Moines, Iowa, and 2 grandsons, one of which is a senior in high school this year, and then a son in northern Michigan, and they have 2 children as well. We got plenty of grandkids and actually have our first great-grandchild, so that's pretty exciting as well.
Sure
I realize I look far too young to have a great-grandchild, but it's true. Yeah, that's a good answer, Pat.
Tell us about your community service, highlights of it.
Well, that's interesting. I think I really got into that in Lawton, because Lawton is the kind of place where if you're going to live there and you can contribute, you really need to contribute, because it's not a town that's wealthy. It's a town that is really a blue-collar place, and to have people that are willing to just be involved means a lot. And Terry would tell you that I took that a little bit too literally, and I did get involved in an awful lot of different things, and enjoyed every bit of it. I love the arts. I'm not an artist myself, but I appreciate art, so was able to get involved for the first time in many, many years in supporting the arts and being involved in arts organizations, and involved with the Chamber of Commerce. I guess most nonprofit organizations in Lawton I was involved with, and that led me to some national nonprofit kinds of work, and I actually chaired a couple of boards on national level nonprofits that really support veterans and the military. Operation Homefront was the name of one of them, and we provided free homes to disabled veterans and their families. And then the other one was the Armed Services YMCA, which provides all kinds of services, including child care at very, very reduced costs around military installations. So really proud of both those outfits and how they've been able to help.
Wow, they're going to miss you. Hobbies, do you have any hobbies and interests that doesn't require a lot of work, just chill?
Well, I don't know. I mentioned we're real supporters of the arts. We love the theater, and for the first time we have time now. So we've spent a lot of time at the Civic Center pre-COVID, and are big fans of that. We're also big Oklahoma City Thunder fans, and have been season ticket holders there up till this year, again because of COVID. So we spend a lot of time doing that, and when I'm not busy, I'm really, really, really not busy, and I like to spend a lot of time at home and doing things I just enjoy on my own. But we enjoy all that together, and when you're in the military, it's something not everybody understands as well as they could. You have such a different life than you would or do as a civilian, and a lot of times you're separated from your family for long periods of time. So Terry and I are just kind of enjoying being around each other. Probably I'm enjoying that more than she is, but it's nice to have time to spend together and just enjoy doing things that you like to do.
Lee, thank you so much for spending time with us today, and it was great.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lee, so much. I am so glad you could pencil us in today with all your activities. The interview was great, as we knew it would be, and we thank you so much.